OpenEdge allows you to return the unused space to the operating system even when the database is running. Let's take a look at the process of returning the storage space to the operating system online, followed by a demonstration of how to remove a data storage area while the database is running. Database administrators often encounter situations where the business no longer uses the historical or processed data. The storage space remains allocated to the database even after archiving the data. Depending on how the storage is used, there may be costs associated with it. OpenEdge allows you to return unused space while the database is running, which eliminates the need for downtime. The first step is to truncate table data online to give the space back to the storage area. Run the ProUtil table move truncate command to truncate and move the table data and regain the space in the storage area efficiently and quickly without having to recreate the schema. After moving the objects out of the storage area, the next step is to return the storage space to the operating system without any disruption. Run the prostruct remove online command when the database is still running and return the storage space to the operating system without scheduling a production outage. In the following demonstration, you will learn how to remove a data storage area while the database is running.
Today, I will be giving a demonstration of ProStruct Remove Online. It is the online version of ProStruct Remove. So the first thing I've done is I've run a script to prepare the demo environment. I've created my databases using sports as the template. I have enabled replication, started the databases. I added some areas, and I added a table to one of those new areas. First thing I'm going to do is make sure everything's okay by using ProUtil Describe. So the bottom terminal is my target, making sure it's configured as a replication target. Top terminal is my source, making sure it's a replication source. So everything looks good. Going to list the areas for the source database and also for the target. So the source database and the target database, so they don't match physically. For the new table area, there's 4 extents on the source, and on the target, there's only 2. That's okay because we only care about the same areas. We don't care about the physical layouts of the extents. And just to show that in the source database, using DB analysis on one area, the new table area, there is a table in this area. And now what I want to do is I want to remove an extent and then eventually the area from that new area. So the way to do that is to use remove online. And there's a restriction that we can't do this if there are objects in the area. You have to get those objects out of the area first. So one way to do that is to use table move. So if this was a very large table, what you could do is you could purge the records first, delete all of them. That would take some time, but it would be online. And then you could move the table afterwards to somewhere else. So for now, for this demo, I'm just going to move it directly using table move. And table move completed, and I should be able to remove it. Yeah. So ProStruct remove online. What you notice is that the syntax is the same. It's ProStruct, then remove online instead of remove, then the database name, D for data area, and then the area name. There's a lot more output. Just like add online and increase to, remove online has to do this wait, where it's telling the database I'm about to do something. All these users have to respond to it before I can continue. And the reason for this is that, one, we're going to be deleting files, so we need to make sure everybody closes the files, otherwise the space isn't actually returned to the operating system. But also every process in the database connected, they have their own internal bookkeeping of how they open the files, and we need to make sure that everybody's in sync with that. So once we recheck, very likely this will be done. If you have DB notified time set to non-zero, this is typically almost always going to complete quickly. If you're using user notified time 0, DB notified time 0, you may have to disconnect some language clients. But even then, it depends on what those clients are doing. If they're idle and connected to other databases, then they may need to be disconnected from this one. Okay, so remove online finished waiting, and it deleted the area extent record for area 22, extent number 4. So if I list the files for this, we have 3. So 3 extents remain on disk. And if I check what ProStruct list displays, then we see that there are only 3 extents. Now, this is something important to note. Just like the offline version of ProStruct Remove, when we remove the final extent, we do not change the type of the preceding extent. So we removed extent 4, extent 3 is still fixed. We didn't make it a variable extent. So what did this do to our replication target? So I started ~f on the database, on the replication target database, and there's nothing from the agent. So there's no impact to the agent for removing a single extent like this. So now what I want to do is I want to see what happens if I remove all the extents for the area, or if I remove the last extent. So I could run ProStruct Remove Online multiple times, or I can run it once, passing -all extents. So after because we're removing the area, and AI is enabled, we get this additional prompt. It's telling us that we can't just remove this on the replication target ahead of time. We can't just remove it on the hot standby ahead of time. What's happening is it's saying roll forward will automatically remove the storage area when processing the AI extent. The replication agent, when it sees this AI extent, it's going to stop processing until you run remove online on the target database. Do I want to continue? Yes. And then we get to the usual remove online output. Again, we end up in this wait because we're removing files. We need everybody to handle their file handles and bookkeeping. And do I wish to recheck? Yes. So now it removed 3 area extent records, 1 for each of the extents remaining in the area. It removed the area record, and then we do an AI extent switch so that before the switch, any notes for area 22 are for the old area 22. If a new area 22 is added, so a new area added to the database with area number 22, it would be in a separate AI extent, so there's no confusion. And the files were removed on disk. So if I check, there are no files source underscore 22, so no extents for area 22 in the source. And if we look at the bottom terminal, the replication agent saying that area 22 must be removed from this database. And the replication agent will end up will go into a wait until it's removed. And logins will be limited, so activity is going to come to a stop for application. So I'll leave that running. So what we need to do now is move on the target. So we could remove 1 at a time. There's only 2 extents, or we could just do the same thing and remove all because we're removing the entire area. So I'm going to do remove online -all extents. So ProStruct remove online got in. We end up at this familiar wait again. And we wish to recheck yes. And we have deleted the area extent records. We deleted the area record and the files on disk. So the files on disk are gone for the target database, and I check PostStruct list. The area is gone. So if we looked at the target database log file, replication agent detected that area 22 was removed from the database, and then default logins were enabled, so replication can continue again. So now, what about the hot standby? So what happens if we apply the AI extents to the target, or to the hot standby? So first, we need to figure out which AI extents to apply. So using AA image list on the source database, we see that the first extent's full, second extent is locked, third extent is busy, so we want to apply A1 and A2. Do that in the bottom terminal. So let's take a look at what we have for the standby database first. We still have the new table area, and it still has 2 extents. So let's apply the first after image file. This one is just one note because this was just before I did online backup. And now let's apply the second one. The second one should have the PostStruct move online operation. Okay, so we finished applying the second one. We check PostStruct list. We see that the area is gone. If we check the database log file, we'll see messages. That these files were removed. There are additional messages up above that it started removing each area extent record, then the area record. And that concludes my demo. So what we showed was how Remove Online works on the source database and the impact to the replication target and also to hot standby. And that is all.